What happened to your high school bully? I had two. One ended up in jail for selling meth and beating his girlfriend. Good riddance. The other one went to college and became a chemical engineer. He messaged me on Facebook a while back and apologized for being a douche in high school, which I accepted. Has a wife and a kid now, seems to be doing good for himself, so I'm happy for him. Never really bullied me, but others he did. Always lived like no rules applied to him. Saw on the local news a couple years ago, he got pulled over for something, ended up in a high-speed chase. The cops did a PID maneuver, and made him spin out. Dipshit pulls a gun and fires at the cops, who in turn, shot up his car and him dead. My dentist told me a story about his bully. Just after he opened his practice, he made an emergency appointment because of a cracked tooth. The dentist recognized him, but the bully didn't. Bully got in the chair, dentist said, open wide and started examining him. Then he said, "You don't recognize me, do you?" Bully said, "No," the best he could with the dentist's tools in his mouth. "You used to bully me at school. You made my life hell." Perfect timing. The bully apologized and the dentist repaired his tooth. But imagine how he felt for those few seconds, being absolutely powerless. Edit. This was in the UK, in about 1992, when we didn't sue people for something that wasn't your fault. She was popular in high school, until the day she got high off spice with her cousin, and then stabbed her cousin to death. She's in jail now, her family is broken, and she swears up and down she did it, because God told her to. To be honest, I feel completely horrible for her family. They don't deserve the social backlash, and the heartache. I was obese, until I was almost 21. Every single person, girl and guy, that bullied me for my weight, got fat. I'm now a size 5. It feels damn good to see them in public. My bully is now dating my older brother's bully. I wonder if they bully each other now. It's just genetics, the opposite of eugenics. They will have genetically pure bully children soon. Beware. Dead. Both of them. One shot himself, after he got into so much trouble, he thought daddy couldn't bail him out. The other was doing 90 down a country road, drunk off his ass, and the road took a hard left, and he didn't. Threw him through the windshield, and killed on impact. Was involved in a motorcycle accident, and suffered serious brain damage. Actually made him a much nicer person. That accident knocked the cunt out of him. He's part owner of an auto parts store I buy from. He's also the second baseman on my beer league softball team I coach. One of my players said they had a guy to fill in for a tournament, so, needing bodies, I agreed. My heart sank when he came strutting up. My player introduced me to him, and he said, "Yeah, Strafari and I go way back. I made his life hell in high school. I don't think I'll be welcome to play, but thanks for the opportunity." He turned and started walking away, and I called him back over. Told him that if he's half as good as he was when we were teenagers, he's welcome to play. He immediately agreed, and after the first game, which we won by the mercy rule, he had a long chat with me in the beer gardens. We're good friends now, and he has a permanent spot on my team. And yes, he is still as good as he was on high school. This is a great story. One of mine sniffed a lot of glue, and ended up in a mental institution. He's still there last I heard. 2 others attacked me late one night, while I was walking near my home. These 2 were constantly in trouble as juveniles. One caught 2 bullets in a fight and died, the other was stabbed to death in a fight. I'm 70 now, I lived a good life after those 2 encounters. Well, I never had a high school bully, but my elementary school bully and I are still neighbors. Apparently, she stole money from her boyfriend, and he came banging at her door, and kicking it to get it back. I think her son is 3 or 4, and we are 19. She got a lower back tattoo when she was 12. My father knew she bullied me, but her parents don't, so her mother is always telling how nice I am, and how she wishes her daughter and I were friends, so I could lead by example. I found him, working the counter at Little Caesar's Pizza, about 10 years after graduation. He didn't recognize me, but he did call me sir. I bet that was the most satisfying, smiley pizza you have ever eaten. Similar story about a girl in Starbucks. One became a super good friend once we hit 10th grade, the more sadistic one is dead, and another is in and out of jail. We became best friends, and I'm going to be in his wedding next year. How did that come about? We started hanging out with the same group of people, eventually buried the hatchet, smoked a lot of weed together, and made a bunch of memories. We had various scraps for much of middle school. I hated him. He was a racist creep hurling various insults at me for laughs. I was the only dark boy in a rural town, and hopelessly small. He took pot shots whenever he could, being so much bigger than me. We finally had a classic schoolyard brawl after school late in the winter. Surrounded by a dozen or so boys egging us on, we fought. I won with nothing more than a hard shove onto the frozen ground. His backpack spilled open, and all his books and papers went flying out onto the snow-covered field alongside his will to fight. He stumbled away in sobs. The jocks nicknamed me Rocky after that fight, and I felt vindicated and proud. Now, when I think back all those years ago, my heart breaks for him in countless ways. He was molested repeatedly by his adoptive parents less than a block away from my own home. He was picked on by other kids as well. We were both outcasts in our own separate ways, but he suffered far worse than I could ever imagine. He ended up in juvie then, later, in prison. I wish I could take back that fateful afternoon. Everyone here is fighting for their lives, facing all kinds of darkness, begging for a little light. He became a Disney star after his success on Vine, made millions of dollars, and now lives in a mansion in Cali. You might have heard of him and his younger brother, Logan and Jake Paul. You're fucking with me, right? He apologized to me one day, a few months before I moved away. Told me that he felt bad about how he treated me, and said that it must have really hurt to be called those names. I told him I forgave him, that we were all just stupid kids. A week later, he shot himself in the head in his parents' front yard. I skipped the funeral. I'm not sure why, whether I was scared or tried to play it cool, but there's literally nothing I regret more than missing that. He ended up matching with me on Tinder, and didn't recognize it was me. I had dyed my hair, gotten piercings and lost a lot of weight, wanted to hook up, and I asked if he recognized me. He felt stupid as fuck, and it was a petty win for me.